At the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, currently ongoing in New York, Vice President Kashim Shettima showcases Nigeria's energy transition opportunity to investors. Nigeria is emerging as a regional leader in nutrition-responsive budgeting, and its expertise is in high demand. As Sultan of Sokoto Saad Abubakar declares Tuesday, 23rd September 2025, as the first day of Rabiul Sani 1447 after Hijrah. Plus trending news in the world of sports. Hello, welcome to Panorama. We are reaching you live from Abuja. I am Ogochkuka Ona. Vice President Kashim Shettima has showcased Nigeria's $200 billion energy transition opportunity to investors, emphasizing the need for partnerships to maximize the multifaceted, multi-billion investment opportunities across the country. He stated this at a roundtable hosted by the Business Council for International Understanding with the theme Risk, Reform, Return, held on the margins of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
Highlighting Nigeria's sovereign rating by platforms implies the country is positioned as the natural hub for the African Continental Free Trade Area's $3.4 trillion market.
Nigeria offers a vista of opportunities.
Vice President Kashim Shettima seized the moment to draw the attention of investors worldwide to the multi-billion economic reset across Nigeria as embodied by President Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. The Vice President told the global audience that since mid-2023, under President Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, Nigeria has embarked on one of the boldest economic resets in its history.
In President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you have a friend, you have an ally who speaks your language, the language of commerce, who understands the dynamics of modern business, who was educated here in the United States, and is a man of courage and conviction. Nobody was willing to bite the bullet. Nobody was willing to take risk. In our first day in office, he took the greatest gamble that any Nigerian leader had ever taken in the past 50 years. It wasn't part of his speech. It was at the inauguration ceremony that he announced the withdrawal of fuel subsidy.
On energy, the Vice President disclosed that with the 210 trillion cubic feet of gas reserves and one of the highest solar irradiation levels in Africa, Nigeria offers a $200 billion energy transition opportunity.
Since mid-2023, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda,
the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment said the impact of President Tinubu's administration's reform are already visible. GDP growth is accelerating, external reserves are strengthening, inflation is moderating, and investment commitment rebounding.
Building on this momentum, Nigeria has introduced a new tax act to modernize and streamline our fiscal regime. But tax is just one part of a much larger picture. We have built a 4-pillar incentive framework designed to reduce investor risk, accelerate cash returns, and make Nigeria one of the most competitive destinations for capital in the global south.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, representing President Bola Tinubu, was at the United Nations General Assembly Hall for the high-level meeting commemorating the 80th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly. The event featured a 3-minute address by President Tinubu, during which he celebrated the spirit and successes of the United Nations, praising its legacy of peace, protection of human dignity, and entrenchment of development goals. From New York, Abdurrahman Jibrila, NTA News.
Nigeria is emerging as a regional leader in nutrition-responsive budgeting, and its expertise is in high demand. Against this backdrop, senior officials from Senegal are meeting with their Nigerian counterparts to share experiences on nutrition-responsive budgeting towards strengthening regional collaboration on nutrition financing and accountability. Nneka Oku reports.
This is Africa learning from Africa. Two countries that once struggled with fragmented nutrition programs and now building systems that ensure every naira and every sefa spent on nutrition can be tracked, measured, and held accountable. For millions of children across West Africa, this technical exchange could mean the difference between malnutrition and healthy development.
Good nutrition is the most important investment in human capital development. This requires sharing of best practices, especially encouraged by our development partners, philanthropists, who have done very well in helping us.
Mahmoud Niang, leader of the Senegalese delegation, who spoke in French, expressed hope that the exchange visit will afford his team the opportunity to observe firsthand Nigeria's progress and challenges in institutionalizing nutrition-responsive budgeting at scale, with a view to strengthening its reforms. The World Bank is supporting both countries through this process.
The interventions that you make as governments to ensure that children develop appropriately will determine the future of your economy.
The exchange continues through Friday with practical sessions on budget integration systems and accountability mechanisms. In Abuja, Nneka Oku, NT News.
The just reinstated governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, has expressed readiness to work with the federal government to ensure speedy delivery of gains of democracy to the people of his state. The governor was in the State House Monday evening on an appreciative visit to President Bola Tinubu. He commended President Tinubu for what he called timely intervention, which has restored stability in the political landscape of the state.
I'm here to say thank you, especially for his intervention. We all knew what was happening in Rivers State, the political tension in Rivers State, and if he had not intervened timely, nobody knows what would have happened in the state. And for me, it was saving the situation. I'm here after the lifting of the suspension to appreciate him and also tell him we're ready to hit the ground running. For the state, I believe that my coming back after the lifting of the suspension is a new and stronger hope for our people, because the government is a government about the people, it's a government that believes in peace. So our working is not just for the people, but also with all the parties, the assembly members, the National Assembly members, elders, everybody this time around are working for the betterment of our dear states.
Governor Fubara returned to office after a 6-month emergency rule declared by the president. President Tinubu had declared state of emergency in Rivers State due to political crisis, leading to the suspension of the governor, the deputy governor, and members of the State House of Assembly. After exactly 6 months, President Tinubu directed that the emergency rule be ended, having observed the commitments of political stakeholders to work harmoniously and the return of peace to the state. The Benue State Police Command has arrested 1 suspect over killing of a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress APC, Eje Ijachi, in Uboju community, Otukpo local government area. Police Public Relations Officer of the command, DSP Edet Udeme, who confirmed the incident, stated that the arrest was made during a manhunt launched shortly after the killing. Eyewitnesses disclosed that Ijachi Eje was gunned down at close range by criminals who trailed him to his compound on motorbikes in the early hours of Monday. The police spokesperson added that the apprehended suspect is being interrogated while efforts are on to arrest the rest of the gangs behind the deadly attack. Nigeria's internal security challenges can only be addressed through proactive policing and partnership with security experts, says Inspector General of Police Kayode Betokun, who, at an engagement with senior officers, emphasized deploying modern-day skills to manage fast-paced security challenges in Nigeria. Francis Form has details.
The training brought together senior police commanders, peace scholars, and legal practitioners, setting the stage for an extensive engagement on the complexities of Nigeria's evolving security landscape.
By supporting the top leadership of the Nigerian police force, we reaffirm our belief that effective policing is not solely about enforcement, it is about foresight, collaboration, and the courage to lead with purpose.
A lot is being done by all that are in charge of this country's governance to mitigate the impact of avoidable conflict.
IGP Egbetokun commended the foresight of the Society for Peace, Studies and Practice, describing the partnership with the police force as a platform to renew and sharpen leadership capacity.
Every insight must become an action, and every action must strengthen the chain of security that binds our nation together.
The training session covers critical areas such as conflict analysis and effective response strategies in a volatile environment, conflict-sensitive decision-making, strengthening capacity for early warning and early response, among others. Francis Form, NTA News.
The Director General of the National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, Professor Innocent Bariko, has threatened to revoke the operational licenses of recycling facilities which refuse to comply with agreed protocol for remediation of Ogijo community in Ogun State. Professor Bariko gave the warning during a meeting with recyclers whose facilities were sealed in a recent clampdown on recalcitrant facilities in the southwest zone of the country. 9 facilities operating in the battery recycling sector in Ogijo were sealed for causing environmental pollution in the community through poor slag management, manual battery breaking, uncontrolled lead dust emissions, lack of workers' health surveillance, among others. He told the recyclers that the administration of President Bola Tinubu remains committed to ensuring that Nigerians live in a healthy environment, warning that time is running out for errant facilities. Professor Bariko further directed that the operators commit to addressing facility-specific environmental and operational concerns, observe the penalties for indiscriminate dumping and non-compliance, and take steps towards adopting cleaner technologies. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back for more reports. His Eminence Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar III, Sultan of Sokoto and President General, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, has declared Tuesday, 23rd September 2025 as the first day of Rabiul Sani, 1447 after Hijrah. This is contained in a statement by Professor Sambuwali Junaidu, Wazir in Sokoto and Chairman, Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs, Sultanate Council. 400 youths have graduated from a specialized program designed to equip them with the skills to plant, nurture, manage and harvest date palm trees, a move set to transform livelihoods, combat desertification and grow Jigawa State's economy for generations to come. Muhammad Musa Askira reports that stakeholders say the program is the first of its kind in Nigeria.
2,084 clusters spread across the state, the project will support the federal government's Great Green World initiative aimed at halting desert encroachments across the 12 frontline northern states. Beneficiaries who showcased their newly acquired skills in both plantation, management and value addition explained how every part of the dead palm tree can be harnessed for economic benefits, from fruits to fronds, trunks to sap. Governor Umar Namadi, while addressing the graduates, expressed optimism that the project will drive over 40 billion naira in revenue over time and significantly complement Jigawa's growing economy. The second phase of the program, he announced, will be launched in June 2026.
The date farm development program will involve the propagation and planting of over 200,000 date farm tree seedling across 2,084 date farm clusters, covering 1,042 hectares. Each of the 400 youth trained will be entrusted with a half hectare of for proper management. Already all the sites were equipped with 5 industrial boreholes for watering and irrigation purposes, and will also be fenced to prevent encroachment and safeguard the survival of the citizens.
Experts say with a lifespan of 70 to 100 years, the dead palm tree is more than a crop. It is a legacy of resilience and prosperity for generations of Jigawa people. Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA.
Karu urban area is a stone throw away from Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory, yet it is faced with indiscriminate waste and poor sanitation. For residents, the consequences are dire. Their health and quality of life hangs in the balance with the stench of rotting waste which fills the air. Usman Zubeiru, who visited the area, tells us more.
And its embers are settlement just about 5 kilometers away from the Federal Capital Territory. Residents of the area are mostly civil servants. A drive to some of the major axes in Karu tells a picture of indiscriminate waste disposal and growing heaps of refuse with unpleasant smell emanating from it, which chokes the atmosphere of the area. Most disturbing is this large waste dump site along Karu Cemetery, which is not only an eyesore to motorists and passers-by, and a huge health risk to residents.
Before, they used to pack this dustbin every week. But now, this dustbin sometimes she will be more than 2 months or 3 months before they pack it.
A serious burden to us around this environment, because anytime you're passing through this area, the stench that we perceive, I don't know, but I think it is really dangerous to our health.
While scavengers smile from the profits they make from the scrap plastic, however, the accumulated waste in Karu is raising fears of possible disease outbreaks.
It has a lot of implications to human health. There are so much airborne diseases coming out from there which can lead to so many syndromes.
And it causes sickness like cancer of the lungs. It causes a lot of diseases.
While expecting government action to halt indiscriminate disposal of waste, a resident in Karu insists that only a total clearing of the refuse will restore cleanness, safety, and calm their minds. In Abuja, Usman Zubeiru, NTA News.
And that's why it was a renewed call for women's special seats in parliament, as hundreds of Nigerian women representing the 36 states of the Federation converged on Abuja in a united call for increased women's participation in governance. National Assembly correspondent Amina Seidu reports.
Yes, Nigeria women!
The event began with a gathering at the Mariam Babangida National Center for Women Development, where various women's groups, activists, professionals and grassroots leaders assembled in solidarity with the agenda. From there, the women embarked on a peaceful procession through some major streets in Abuja, making their way to Transcorp Hilton. Their mission is to submit a memorandum to the National Assembly leadership, strongly endorsing the special seats reserved for women bill, which seeks to secure a constitutional quota for women in both legislative chambers.
We are here to engage in a foundational act of nation building, the collective reimagining, reshaping of the supreme law of our land, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We are asking that an extra 37 women are voted into Senate. It should be placed there. Women who are in political parties should compete for that seat. It's women-only seat. And then 37 positions be reserved for the House of Representatives for women only to contest it. And also within the state houses of assembly, for women to have every House of Assembly will have extra 3 seats for women, which they will contest and win. It's not about dashing them.
The reserved seat bills that we are talking about will
ensure that we close the gender gap in the political landscape of Nigeria.
Advocates say the bill is a critical step towards correcting the gender imbalance in Nigerian politics. Amina Saidu, NTA News.
And now, INEC has published the final list of candidates for the February 21st, 2026 Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections, confirming that 17 political parties have been cleared to contest. INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumeko, disclosed this in a statement. The Commission notes that the publication of the final lists of candidates follows the expiration of the window for withdrawal and substitution of candidates. Yobe State government has launched the distribution of 50,000 bags of assorted grains to vulnerable persons across the state. The initiative is part of the government's food security drive program and aims to support hundreds of individuals impacted by pre-harvest period. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
The harvest period is a critical time when households' food reserves are often deflected, having been consumed throughout the season, or are reinvested in farming as they await the upcoming harvest. The procurement and distribution of 50,000 bags of assorted grains by Yobe State government aims to provide succor to the vulnerable population across the state struggling during the challenging pre-harvest period.
This is in line with the government's vision and mission of food security and resilience building for efficient and effective recovery from natural disasters, such as this year's flood, which claimed some lives and properties. I wish to commend the federal government under the leadership of His Excellency President Bola Tinubu GCFR for aligning national priorities with our efforts to achieve food security through the renewed hope agenda.
This intervention is not only consistent with the federal government, national food security and national policy on food and nutrition, but also reflects the spirit of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2, Zero Hunger, the Global Food Security Agenda, and the FAO Framework on Food System Resilience.
The initiative is expected to benefit over 350,000 individuals, with each receiving a 50 kg bag of grain to be delivered directly to their doorstep. In the Matru, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
All right, let's have a sports updates with Gift George.
Nigeria's under-17 boys football team, the Golden Eaglets, are set to take on their counterparts from Benin Republic Wednesday at the ongoing Wafubi Under-17 Championship. It will be the first match for the Nigerian team, who are five-time champions of the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. The Wafubi Under-17 tournament serves as a qualifying competition for next year's Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations for boys, which will in turn produce Africa's representatives for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup taking place in Qatar next year. To basketball, in preparation for the upcoming FIBA Africa Zone 3 3-on-3 tournament in Ghana, the basketball governing body for the region, FIBA Africa Zone 3, will host a specialized 3-on-3 referees clinic Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. The one-day clinic scheduled to take place at the Accra Sports Stadium aims to equip the referees with latest officiating knowledge and practical tools necessary for 3-on-3 basketball tournament. In other news, in line with its renewed vision for sports development, the Lagos State Sports Commission has commenced a biometric data capturing for all its athletes in the 44 sports in both the junior and elite categories. Speaking on the initiative at the Teslim Balogun Stadium, Lagos, the Director General of the Lagos State Sports Commission, Lekan Fatudu, says after winning the National Youth Games, the state hopes to maintain its place as a center of sporting excellence in the country. The exercise aims to profile athletes, monitor their development process, and career sustainability. The project is defined by three pillars: sports development reforms, renewed grassroots framework, and a roadmap to revitalization.
We are bringing innovation to the process of identification of talent. We are also bringing innovation to the process of engaging and empowering our future talent. So what we have done now is actually to have a well-articulated database using innovation and technology.
On the foreign scene, football pundits have reacted to French striker and Paris Saint-Germain forward Ousmane Dembele winning the 2025 Ballon d'Or, beating Barcelona's Lamine Yamal to the award. Dembele was the player of the year in the French league, and helped Paris Saint-Germain to a remarkable treble.
Even the Club World Cup that Dembele lose, you agree with me that he gave a good account of himself in the Club World Cup. He won the Champions League with PSG. He won the French League with PSG. So I think it is a well-deserved award.
Boss update, Gifts George, NTA News.
Thank you, Gifts, and that's Panorama today. Many thanks for watching. Do stay tuned for the rest of our programs.